Oh, you're into that tree. You are into the tree on the right-hand side. Is it scratching?
Oh, big scratch, yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, totally.
So if you saw our last video, you know what that scene is about. If you haven't, we've linked that video below, so you can go and check that out before you come back to this and see what the result is. But that was our first damage incident on our RV, and we had a lot of feedback from folks that watched that video, and some of it was critical about us trimming that tree. And so we wanted to address that before we show you the rest of the video.
And rightly so, we were criticized. We did a lot of things wrong there. We did, you know, when we went into that dispersed camping area, we did scope the area out really well. We had a little troubles parking, but there was really no reason why we shouldn't have gotten out of that spot without damage and without contacting that tree. So there were a number of mistakes that were made. One of the things that really we didn't do well was after we had the incident and we were into the tree, is we didn't take enough time to really think about what the best way to get out of that was. We ended up trimming the tree with a saw. But as I thought about the incident later and kind of analyzed what went wrong, you know, one of the perfectly good ways of getting out of that would have been to disconnect the truck and hook up at a different angle so we could pull the camper away from the tree. That would have been a much better choice. But the way we were parked in there's really no reason why we shouldn't have been able to get out of there without damaging the rig and contacting that tree. We just didn't take enough planning when we got in there. Maybe we were a little overconfident, I don't know, but
I think part of what made us overconfident is that we've done over 100 nights boondocking all over the Southwest in particular, and never had an incident. And so I think we got to be confident, and then we got focused on getting the rig out without damaging it, rather than, to Tom's point, stepping back and looking at the whole picture and figuring out a variety of solutions rather than just trimming that tree.
And if it, you know, for the people who've been following us for a long time, you know that we love nature. We like to stay out of cities. We love nature. We like to take care of nature and really do our best to you know, care for the lands and the resources that we have and really respect those.
So it was painful for us to cut that tree too. So the bottom line is we do these videos because we want to share our journeys with our family and friends, but also other RVers who may be doing similar activities. So we want to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that was our ugly last week. So hopefully the purpose would be that you learn from what we learned from and not make the same mistake.
We learned a lot from that mistake. There's a lot of things we would do differently, and a lot of things that we won't do in the future as a result of that.
Yeah, for sure. So in the rest of this video, we're going to show you what we did to fix the rig. And also we have a couple of really cool things that we did. One in Page, Arizona, which was unique. And the other was our 6th National Park, Petrified Forest. So enjoy. So this happened yesterday as we were leaving. You may not be able to see it right away, but I'm going to zero it in and take a look at that pinstripe through the paint. And then down below, the scratch mark all along the edge. And then whoops, boom, we got a hole in our door. And let's show them the inside of the door. So we had a tussle with a tree, and we have damaged our rig for the first time.
So I have Meguiar's Scratch X, which is supposed to remove fine scratches. And then I also bought basically rubbing compound, which is basically a stronger version of this. The Scratch X was doing a pretty good job at not getting all of it off of there. So I've been using the rubbing compound on here, and it looks
a lot better. You have to be
at just the right angle.
Yeah, and like if you move away from there, you can move out of the, because we're reflecting. You can barely barely see it. You have to be in the right angle and the right light, but it looks way better than it did.
So I don't know. I mean, if we keep doing this, I mean, there's certainly, you know, there's a layer of fiberglass on top of the Asdale that's in there. And this is just basically, you know,
it's making it a whole lot better at the very least.
It's like sandpaper, except it's super, super fine, and it's polishing at the same time.
It's too bad you can't use it up here on this scratch through the decals.
That's not going to work. We got to get
new decals.
Look at getting new decals up there.
The interesting thing is that it's only on the decals. It's not on the base thing.
It is a little bit in here, but that's going to rub right off.
Yeah. So, well, there's a little solution.
So not quite as horrible as we first saw. Obviously, that's not going to buff out. But
maybe if you used a suction cup and just sucked it out.
The question here now becomes: is it cheaper to get a new door panel to stick in there?
I hope we don't have to do that.
Yeah, or is it cheaper to have somebody fiberglass that?
Because we'd have to redo the sticker and all that.
I know, but if it's $1,000 to fix that and $100 to replace the sticker, we'll do that.
That's true.
We'll price it out and see what the choice is, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah.
I'm feeling much better.
It's looking a whole lot better. You just almost can't see it now.
Right.
Like I said, unless you're looking for it.
Right.
So we left Capitol Reef a few days ago, and we headed to Page, Arizona. It's actually kind of one of our favorite spots that we traveled in our first year because it had Lone Rock Beach and some other things. We didn't have a lot of time while we were here, but we got a chance to do a really cool adventure while we were here that we did on our own, and it was a paddle and hike into Antelope Canyon.
Yeah, it was, and I'll just say right off, you know, if you're here in Page and you've got the option of doing either the paddle hike or you've got the option of doing one of the canyon tours, the canyon tour is better, definitely better. There's pros and cons, obviously, to both.
And he's talking about the canyon tours
that are
guided.
Yep, the guided upper and lower canyon tours are fabulous. If for some reason price is an issue, you can do the paddle hike for a lot less money than you do the guided tours. But we've done Lower Antelope Canyon, the guided tour, and we wanted to try something different. We wanted to get out and use our kayak, so we paddled. You paddle about a mile along Lake Powell shoreline to get to the canyon, and then it's probably another mile and a half to 2, depending on the water levels, to get up to the canyon. And once you get to the canyon, you park your kayak along the shore in the canyon there, kind of like angled parking, and then you start hiking, and the hike is fabulous. It's not as good as the views you see in the guided tours, but all kinds of advantages to doing it. One, the lower cost. 2, you get to go at your own rate. You can shoot video there if you want, which is kind of important for us. We like that.
And you can't do that on the guided tours.
No, you can't do that on the guided tour. The other side note about the doing the tour on your own is if you can take a tour guide, which again is going to cost you more money, but they only go so far. They stop once they get into the first kind of narrow section, and there's some very nice narrows beyond that you're not going to get to see if you do a guided tour. So if you just rent your own kayak, or if you have your own kayak, it's going to be I think it's going to be a lot better experience.
Yeah, in my opinion, you don't need a guide. It's very hard to get lost. I mean, you would have to really try.
You're in a slot canyon.
Yeah, you're in a slot canyon. You can't get lost.
Yeah, it's hard.
Going back a little bit to the paddle. The paddle on Lake Powell was a little rough because it is open to motorboats too.
Powerboats, yeah.
Powerboats. And to get to the Antelope Canyon, there can be some rough water. Not terrible, but
there are a few waves.
Yeah, it's doable for sure. But once you get into Antelope Canyon, it's there's boats can go up there too, but they have to be at idle speed.
Yeah, it's a no wake zone,
Yeah.
so they can't be. I think it says 5 miles an hour for the
Yeah.
boats, so they're not going much faster than you are paddling.
But it's beautiful. You're kayaking down this this beautiful canyon with walls towering above you on either side. And then, as Tom said, when we get in, into the hiking part, just incredible beauty. We always wear our Crocs when we are kayaking because they're easy to use, getting in and out of the water and that kind of stuff. They are not good hiking shoes.
No, they're not good.
They're not good. I wound up with quite a blister on my instep because they're just not good for walking, and especially it's pretty sandy
and some gravel too.
yes, and the Crocs have little holes in them, so we were constantly emptying our Crocs of sand and gravel.
Yeah.
So second pro tip is bring a pair of walking shoes. You don't need hiking boots. Tennis shoes would be fine.
Yeah.
But bring a pair of shoes, and even a backpack with a water bladder would be good. So
there are a couple small scramble spots there. Mm-hmm. One has had a little ladder at it. Mm-hmm. The other one did not, which was a little more of a challenge to get up for some people.
For me, but I did.
Yeah, but you did. It was about a 4-foot ledge
where you have to step 4 feet up to get up.
The point there is if you get to that spot, really make the effort to get by those obstacles, because the best parts of the canyon are beyond that.
Yes.
So you really want to get up and see those. There's some very, unlike the guided tours of Upper and Lower Antelope Canyon, there are some very narrow sections where you can almost only get 1 foot down in the bottom of the little trench that goes through there. They're very, some very tight passages there that are very cool to go through. So
yeah. We did see a rattlesnake. We did see parts of a bunny. And a petrified rat of some kind, kangaroo rat.
Yeah,
so we did see wildlife. Highly recommend the paddle and hike to Antelope Canyon. I would say it was quite a highlight.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It's probably one of the better things that we've done on the entire trip, I think.
Yeah. Now we have just left Page, Arizona, and we are on our way to our 6th and final, at least on this leg of our journey, national park.
Yeah.
So we are going to Petrified Forest. Don't really know what to expect.
No, I think it's going to be
another quickie.
Well, it's going to be another quickie, yeah. But
yeah.
I'm sort of thinking it's going to be more than what we think it is.
That'd be nice.
Based on a picture I saw, the picture didn't look like what I was expecting. So I'm thinking that there's probably going to be a little more there than we expect. We'll see.
That'd be fun. So we've been scratching off our park poster. We're on number 6, and then from there we are headed to our winter home. So we will share with you what we learn about Petrified Forest. We only have one night there, so basically we've got this afternoon to do whatever exploring we have, and maybe a little in the morning, and then we're heading out. So stay tuned to see what we find at Petrified Forest. This is the Painted Desert Inn turned into a museum.
Oh, maybe this is the ice cream parlor. No, there's stuff in here too.
This is the original kitchen where they cooked food. And I believe, we'll have to read up on this, but I believe this was in service to the Civilian Conservation Corps, because it says this furniture was made by the CCC during the construction of this building. Not a bad looking dining room.
No, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, look at the artwork on the walls.
First CC camp was established in the spring of 1934.
Oops. So behind the Painted Desert Inn is the Painted Desert.
Looks a little bit like the Badlands.
Looks a lot like the Badlands, only the Badlands is a little more white and gray, and this is more pink.
Yep.
It's kind of beautiful in a stark sort of way. This stretch of Route 66 was opened from 1926 to 1958 and was the primary way millions of travelers initially experienced Petrified Forest and the Painted Desert.
You can sort of see like
Yeah.
a little bit of a rise here going across the horizon there.
Yeah.
So that may have been the road bed and they just took out the asphalt.
And here's a car that got left behind. Looks like it got stripped. Looks like it's like a Flintstone mobile. There's no nothing.
I was gonna get in the front seat, but
yeah. It's a 1938 Studebaker. So what we're seeing here is very similar to what we've seen in other places, just the ruins of the ruins of people that lived here between the 1200s and 1300s. They call them Puebloans. And different than the Mesa Verde, these guys are on top of the mesa, not cliff dwelling, or building their houses in the cliffs. All along the ridge are giant logs that are petrified. It's amazing how much it looks like wood.
yeah.
With wood chips all around it. I mean, well, it is wood. Well, it was wood. Now it's petrified minerals.
But you can just see it all scattered all the way across the plains.
Yeah, the sign says this is the largest collection of petrified wood in the world.
So Petrified Forest.
It's petrified, all right.
Yeah, there's a lot of logs that have turned into rock.
Yes. It's fascinating. I mean, just the history, the prehistoric history of this place is fascinating.
Yeah.
This is another park I think that it's really good for on your way to something else.
Yep. If you wanna just come in, see some petrified wood, see some of the landscape, I would say come into the south entrance, and it's the Rainbow Visitor Center. We'll put the name up here if that's wrong.
Right. I think it's Rainbow Museum and Visitor Center.
Yeah, but you can see some of the topography, the kinds of badlands landscape. You can see a lot of the petrified logs. You could be in and out of here in half an hour.
But what we did, they have a great drive, a loop drive. With
it's a drive that goes all the way through the park. It's like 28 miles or something like that.
Right, but there's lots of overlooks along the way, so you really don't need to do a lot of hiking. You don't have to do a lot of anything. If you do, just drive through it. Great things to see.
If you want to go through the whole park, do some of the little hikes that are there at some of the overlooks, see the overlooks, you're probably talking 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, agreed. So worth it if you're on your way to someplace else. Otherwise, it's cool.
Yeah,
so
that's where you need.
There you go. Oh, and one more thing. Tom talked about coming to see the petrified wood on the south side, but if you want to see some Pueblo Indian ruins and things like that, that's more on the north side. So
probably need to do the drive for those.
Yeah, do the whole drive for those. If you just want to see the petrified wood, come to the Rainbow Museum.
So it's been a couple of weeks since our debacle. We looked at repairing the door at a fiberglass place. I said, the door's probably going to be $800 to $1,000, and they said just replace the door because it's going to be at least that to replace the fiberglass. So we've ordered a new door, we've ordered new decals. We got the door now. We're going to unpack that, and then we're going to get that put in, and we're going to go from there. So as a reminder, this is the damage that we did here. The door, particularly right along here, got smashed in pretty good, and there's a hole also a little bit on the inside there that we've kind of flattened out a little bit. As you can see, there's a pretty deep scratch across here, and it's even dented here, so doing the fiberglass repair on that would have been pretty tough to do. the scratches, the big scratches that we had down the side here, you can still just barely see one. I haven't completely buffed that one out yet, but I'm going to still do that. And then you can see the big scratches down the decals there. And we have the replacement decals to replace all of those, so that's going to be kind of the next project, is starting on decals. But today we're going to try and get the door out of here and put the new one in there. So. And
you're going to try to salvage our.
Yep, I'm gonna.
Hopefully,
once I get this out, I can take this bottom piece out, and I'm hoping to get a saw and cut this out of here, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with that. I thought these were going to be harder to put on than they are.
Well, that first one was hard, but these are, you're doing a fabulous job. And that, my friends, is how it's done. We have one more, and then
we're gonna do this one.
Oh yeah, that one has a scrape in it, and we're going to do this one, and then we need to do the ones on the new door. So 101 decal application.
So the rig is looking pretty good now. We've got the new door in here. The hole is gone, which is nice. We put new decals on here around the window up there. We replaced all of these decals here. And then the scratches that were across here, across the side, across the middle, and even across the top up there, we used kind of rubbing compound and buffed those out of there. So
you can't even see the scratches anymore.
You can't even see the scratches anymore. There's a little scuff here. We could touch that up with paint later on, but we're not going to worry about that for now. So we're down to one last thing, and that is our decal for the door.
Another excellent job by my talented husband.
So I'm Tom.
And I'm Marquita.
And we're destined to explore.